about when you get the sonship talk and you begin to identify certain fathers that God put in your life beyond your earthly father, you begin to realize that it's been this unbelievable orchestra that God has conducted to bring men in your life in the season that you needed them to walk you to be where you are. And as you begin to open up your thought process to that and realize what it's like to have that person to help you change oil one time, or maybe fix your own lawnmower. Those seem real practical, but I mean, when you fix your own lawnmower with your dad's help, like, you feel like a real man. Like, look, the thing's running, and I took part in that. Whatever that was, we were supposed to get that when we were teenagers, right? But a lot of us, we didn't have that. But how about when it came to dating that first girl, or the first week of your marriage, like, however those things were.
Or the second week of your marriage, or the third week of your marriage.
The seventh year of your marriage. We were designed to have a heavenly Father that was there in the moment that we needed him. And as we begin to experience that with, fathers with skin on, we begin to walk more into what that means. And, if you've read Wild at Heart, and I hope you have, one of the hardest chapters to get through is the father wound, because Satan very intentionally brings these wounds, or helps interpret these wounds into, gee, I'm on my own. I don't have anybody. And to quote my good friend Andy, that leaves you in this place where, and it's a good thing if, in my opinion, you've got a journal or something, spend some time thinking, when was it that I made that agreement, that I'm on my own, that it's up to me. If it's going to get done, I'm going to have to do it. That's a really turning point in your life. And to identify that is really helpful, in my opinion, to see how to break that, right, dude?
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll talk about that at a boot camp too. I'll be sharing kind of how you go through.
Are you doing the wound?
I am. And I'll be talking about how to go through and kind of take an inventory of where things came, how they came, the message that came with them, how you are interpreting that now, and those sorts of things. Because I mean, if it's kind of like eating an elephant, you got to do it one bite at a time. There's no way you could handle that if you tried to process everything all at once. But yeah, I think that every single day, I pray, Lord, please identify the agreements that I need to break today. And I break them intellectually and through prayer, but it may take many more days, many more weeks, many more months at times to walk completely free in that. And I will say this, that happens when I hang out with you guys, because you guys know my wound set. You know my glory, you know my sin, you know everything about me. And so when I start walking into those lies again, walking into those wounds again, it is often you guys, or my lovely wife, my son, who's, now intelligent in this as well, that can come to me and go, wait a minute, that's not true about you. And begin to speak that truth back, just like the song that we listened to, in the bump earlier. So yeah.
Run to the Father.
Run to the Father. Well, Darren, you have the first clip, and it's about a father-son as well, right?
Yeah. This clip is, it's from the movie Field of Dreams. So it's maybe one of the oldest in our repertoire, but it's out there. And this is such a cool scene because you've got John Casella, who was, by all accounts, a good dad to his son, Ray. And Ray is the one that builds the Field of Dreams that allows the father to come back to life, in essence, and play ball on that field. And so Ray begins to get the experience of seeing his dad before he got any father wounds from his dad, before his father maybe wasn't there for him, things like that. And it allowed him to see his father in a totally different way, to begin to forgive his father, honestly, for some of those mistakes. We all need that. I fathered 2 children, 3.5 children, and that's a whole lot, another long story. But anyway, as you do that, you're going to wound them. And so I do need their forgiveness. And I love it when my kids come back to me and go, Dad, when and I'm like, I know, I'm sorry, please forgive me. But Ray gets that chance to do that. But the coolest thing about the whole process is he gets to forgive his dad, but in that, the healing begins in his heart as well. So
if you build it, he will come.
What is it?
It's my father. Ease his pain.
Go the distance.
I only saw him years later when he was worn down by life. Look at him. He's got his whole life in front of him, and I'm not even a glint in his eye. What do I say to him?
Why don't you introduce him to his granddaughter?
Hi.
Hi.
I just wanted to thank you folks for putting up this field, letting us play here. I'm John Kinsella.
I'm Ray. My wife, Annie. This is my daughter, Karen. Karen, this is John.
Hi, John.
Hiya, Karen.
Well, we're gonna let you two talk.
Hey, Dad? You want to have a catch?
I'd like that.
So for those that don't know me super well or know my story well, my father was physically handicapped my entire life. I never knew my dad when he could run. He could walk, not without difficulty, but he could walk. He couldn't stand in one spot. He had to be kind of leaning up against something in order to keep himself steady. But he was still a phenomenal father. Sam said, his dad was not at all of his games. My dad never missed a game, never missed climbing in the bleachers, even though he struggled to walk. However, the things that we never did do is we never went fly fishing together. We never went hiking in the Rockies together. I never got to throw him a pass while he ran the route. It was always me running the route and him throwing the pass. And so I cannot wait until the day in heaven when I get to hang out with my dad and see him as the father he wanted to be. And that's the deal, is most of us want to be a phenomenal father and we blow it. Yeah, we blow it. But we have the other father, the real father, who is continually fathering us and gets to help us even refather our own children. And that's been a big part of my life this year, is refathering my daughter in a different way, fathering my daughter again through fathering my granddaughter. Different things like that God has been using this idea of sonship that to drive home that he's always been there and he always will be there, but I'll also get this other thing too.
That's good. It's I was thinking about as we played that clip, and I know that yes, we like a certain type of movies, but we like a lot more movies than you hear us play on here. But just the amount of Hollywood movies that deal with going back into the past and correcting something, and so why do all these Hollywood stories have that? as part of their premise, right? That it's part of the storyline, is because that's what God continually does as he fathers you.
Mhm.
He takes you back into those broken places. He takes you back into the place where you made the agreement that made you harden your heart in an area.
Mhm.
And he'll do that sometimes for bringing other people into your life to help do that, or he'll put you in situations that put you to a place of being so uncomfortable you have to deal with it,
Mhm.
right? Out of a loving place to get you to that place of healing and restoration, but you always have to go back. And that's why it speaks so much to our heart when we see those types of stories, is because that's what we're designed for God to do in our heart, to continue to father us through things in this broken world till there's a time when there's no more brokenness.
Yeah, and one of the greatest lies that Satan, I believe, uses is you can't go back.
Right.
You can't go back. You made that mistake. You can't undo that mistake. And God is saying every day, "Oh yeah, you can.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can."
Well, I went to my first boot camp in 2002. My dad died in 1984. So one of the lies the enemy said, well, your dad's gone. What are you going to do? Go talk to his headstone? Which I did do, actually, at one point, because God had me go do that at one point. And it was very freeing, and all the things that happened and the breakthroughs that came when my dad wasn't even physically there. And maybe that's a situation where you're at. Your dad's not either alive still, or he's not around, or it's not safe to actually talk to them. Maybe that's the case, but God's still there and wants to help you work through that and father you through those situations.
I think if we allow ourselves to feel it, not just worldly think, but
Yeah.
feel it.
Yeah. If we go by the world standards, it's going to be so far less than what God has in store for you.
That's why with my grandfather, boy,
Oh, absolutely.
you could feel it.
Yeah. Well, you felt his
The
love,
need.
right?
I think the Holy Father does the same thing for me.
Absolutely, Grant. Thank you. Robbie, you have the next clip from a movie we've not used before on here. Well, maybe a long time ago.
Yeah, it's a movie called The Adam Project, which you can't help but realize that Adam was the original name. Pretty much means dirt. So, you can you can call him Dusty if you like.
Dusty Rose.
Yeah, the Great American Dream. Anyway, so
I need to call Harold Dusty from now on.
that's a thought, Anyway, in the Adam Project, just the setup you're talking about, they're going to go back. Adam has the ability to go forward and backward in time, which is a perfect setup when you think about it, because part of the reason that you can have the healing that you can have, and you've had it and I've had it, so many men in this room have, because Jesus lives in all time. God the Father lives in all time. And we, whether we realize it or not, are part little boy, and we're part the age we are. We're part still in our 20s. We're part still in our 30s. We live as a complete time situation. And so this movie takes that idea and expresses it through they're going to visit their father. So a young version of Adam and an older version of Adam is going to go visit their father and actually try to tell their father what's going to end his life. And the father, if you hear the beginning of it, he wants none of that. And the important things I would like for you to hear in the clip, as I'm going to explain them, is a minute he's going to say, "Come here." And when he says "come here," he puts a bear hug on these guys like you have to really see, that you don't see amongst many fathers and sons, unfortunately. But there's a bear hug that's unbelievable. And then he starts to talk about, actually at the very beginning, he begins to talk about how his son is his future, because he doesn't want his dad to die. Who doesn't? But he talks about how his future is his son and their sons and their sons. I don't know that we perceive our future the way God does through, the generations that come after us, not just physical sons, but spiritual sons that God allows into our life in so many different ways, especially when you take up the mantle of like, man, God's healed me in this. Now I can help other people with the way that I was healed. And so as you listen to this clip, I want you to think about those things. Like, here comes this hug. Here comes this young man's understanding or lack thereof.
There's something that we need to tell you.
I already know. I knew the moment I saw you.
sorry, boys. I'm sorry that I'm not going to be there for you down the road, and I've given it a lot of thought, but you cannot tell me how or when it happens. You came back here because no one has a right to change the future, including us.
It's your future.
No. You're my future. Both of you. And how lucky am I that I got to see it. I haven't been there for you, and I'm sorry. But I saw you being born. I watched you take your first breath. And after that happens, nothing is ever the same again. You're my son, Adam, and I love you. You're my boy, and I love you. I loved you from the first minute that I saw you, and that will never change. Adam,
Dad,
you're my
to do
boy.
the whole thing.
You're
Okay.
amazing. I love you.
I get it, Dad.
I don't think you do. I am proud of you.
Okay.
I love you, son. Know that inside your heart. No, come here. You're my boys, and you'll always be my boys throughout all time.
I love you, Dad.
I love you, buddy. Don't carry this around anymore.
Don't carry this around anymore, right? That you're not loved. And I'll never forget this. I heard it at one of the first boot camps I attended. It hit me like a ton of bricks. And it talked about it, Jesus' baptism, which is a spectacular point in the scriptures, just spectacular, because nowhere do you get to see the Trinity like you get to see it at Jesus' baptism. Because Jesus goes down into the water, there's Jesus. He comes up, the Holy Spirit's going to light on him like a dove. And then one of the most glorious moments in history, the Father himself breaks protocol, comes out and speaks to everyone present for the first time since Sinai. This is my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased. And what you guys said that day, I've never forgotten. If Jesus needed to hear that, if Jesus, and by the way, he hadn't done anything. Boy, I mean, he hadn't healed anybody, no water into wine. I mean, he's just getting baptized here. I mean, at this point in time, it's just like what this Father said. From the moment you took your first breath, I loved you. And by the way, God feels that way about you. If you listen to this podcast, man, woman, or child, I assure you, the very first breath you took, he loved you. And he couldn't love you more than, and just like the boy in this clip, we don't get it. We don't get it, and the Father feels so misunderstood because we don't get that. We don't get that. And so, when I married my wife, my mother took her aside and she said, you need to know something about Robbie. If you hug him, it's like hugging a tree. And her point was, Robbie can't express affection. Her point was, Robbie doesn't have anything to give. And, he's been teaching me to hug ever since I came to Christ. And how many men do you know who could literally hold you and you knew you were loved? And the Father wants us to feel that. He wants us to experience as the huggee and the hugger. And I'm just telling you that there's something to this, that when you walk with authentic men that are willing to literally show you affection, it changes your heart. And with your heart changed, you can go be that for another man.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a journey.
It has. We talk every week about boot camps because this has been what boot camps has been to us, right? Is the Father showing up himself,
Mm-hmm.
right? The Spirit, Jesus, all of them there. Other men loving on us at camp
Mm-hmm.
from the standpoint of sharing their story. A lot of the things that we carry in around with us every day is I'm the only one that struggles with this.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else has it together. Then you get to camp and you hear people talk about things and you go, wow, I'm not the only one.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And just a man sharing his story will often lead you to breakthrough.
Yeah.
Right. Because you realize the enemy's been lying to you the whole time. And so that's why we talk so much about camp, because there's so much freedom that can be had there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, all of us we've had some of our highest moments as men, as a band of brothers, as a husband, as a friend at boot camp. And we've had some of our lowest moments
Oh, yeah.
at boot camps.
It's not without warfare.
It is not without
That's
warfare.
training.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's live fire. It's you don't get to practice in the dojo.
Right.
It's live fire. And so we've all experienced that, but it is when those men come around you, or maybe your wife and Sam's wife, come around you and begin to pray over you and say, yeah, we know you blew it, but look, that's not who you are. And we're not giving up on you, and neither is God, neither is anybody else here. And those are those times, Robbie, that you talk about when somebody is vulnerable enough to show you affection. We think of, if I'm vulnerable, if I allow people to be affectionate with me. Well, it takes a huge degree of vulnerability to be willing to show others affection too. Probably more so, because the rejection can come a whole lot faster when you're trying to give affection than when you are receiving it. And so, yeah, I'm so glad you shared that. Thank you.
So any last thoughts before we wrap up on the topic of fathering, God fathering us, David? What about you?
Yeah, I can attest to the whole showing affection and hugging. Robbie is definitely a hugger. I don't know how many boot camps I'd been to before I started responding, but I can remember the first time that I responded to the wound talk for Sam at our very first entrenchment, I believe.
Yeah, during a hurricane. Yeah,
it was during a hurricane that luckily me and Sam survived up that mountain. But I was responding to the wound talk and was overthinking it, but got up there to start talking about father wounds, which if you've listened to the show, you've heard me talk about it. And I think, I don't know, how long it was like less than 10 seconds.
Yeah, it was, that would be generous.
Yeah. I remember just basically dropping the microphone, having tears and going out the church, and was down in like a stairwell by the trash cans, just trying to figure out what was going on. And out comes Robbie right behind me, and he didn't even say anything. He just hugged me and hugged me and hugged me and hugged me and hugged me. And then I went out on a covenant of silence to try to figure out what was going on. But yeah, affection really works, man. That really is where the change for me started. And then I kind of started getting on the path with God on the way I wanted to go. So thank you.
Thank you, Robbie. If you, David, thank you for being here. We're good to see you again this week, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, maybe next March.
Yeah, maybe. Go to masculinejourney.org to register for the upcoming boot camp. Financially, if it's going to be a challenge for you, don't let that be the case. We will help you find a way to get there. Go to any of our names at masculinejourney.org to email us. We'll talk with you next week.